We're back on the review train here. This is for Kevin. Actually, I got 2 reviews that are coming here. Kevin requested these a while back. Again, thank you to Kevin, and thank you for your patience. So today, we're going to talk about and review the 1973 classic, Enter the Dragon, which I have reviewed before on the channel. I've talked about the film before, and I don't mind talking about it again. It's a classic, and we'll get into that here. But let's talk about the plot real quick. But the plot to the film, so Bruce Lee, his character Lee, is recruited by a secretive intelligence group to infiltrate an island owned by the master criminal Han, who appears publicly only at these martial arts tournaments on the island. They believe that Han is running some kind of opium operation. Bruce Lee, well, his character, his sister in the movie was killed by Han's men. And so Lee wants revenge, and he's also joined by other participants in the tournament, including a couple of Americans from the army, John Saxon, his character, and Jim Kelly. And they all soon realize that Han is using this tournament to recruit new associates, and those who refuse are killed. And that's the plot here to the film. But the director, Robert Clouse, he directed Game of Death. He also directed Battle Creek Brawl, which I haven't seen those movies. You know, the music to the film is by Lalo Schifrin. I hope I'm saying that right. He is known for the theme for the Mission Impossible series back in the day. Later on, you know, providing the score for the Rush Hour movies. And the cast here. You know, talk about the cast. You got Bruce Lee in the film. You got John Saxon. You got Jim Kelly. The character of Han, our villain of the film, is played by Qian Shi. And again, if I'm mispronouncing these names, I do apologize. Robert Wall as O'Hara, you know, very memorable character and villain. Angelo Mao, Bolo Young as Bolo in the movie. But the characters in the film, you know, Bruce Lee, you know, brings an undeniable presence to the film. You know, John Saxon plays the character Roper, you know, with charm, but also complements the lead character. Jim Kelly is Williams, another memorable and, you know, charismatic character. And you have a very memorable villain. You know, a classic, you know, villain here that's menacing. And they just don't make villains like this anymore. You know, I mean, you know, I miss those kinds of villains. You know, the location, the island location, you know, is another great layer to the film. You know, combined with Han's underground operation and base. And, you know, some of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Bruce Lee's character is sneaking into the operation, you know, the underground base. And then, of course, you got, you know, some fight scenes later. But, you know, those are some of my favorite scenes. You know, the fight scenes are iconic. You know, you got Bruce Lee versus O'Hara. You know, again, just great stuff, iconic scenes. And, you know, I would say that's my favorite fight because that's the one that automatically comes to my mind. You know, Bolo Young, you know, killing the guards, you know, for not doing their jobs. Because, you know, Bruce Lee is, you know, like I said, his character is sneaking around at night, you know, trying to figure out more about Han and his operation by sneaking into the underground layer or base. And because the guards are, you know, are insufficient, you know, Bolo Young, you know, kills them. And then, of course, you know, like, later on, for people who have seen the movie, you know, like Jim Kelly's character, that's the one thing I will say, the one thing I don't like, you know, because I love his character, is that, you know, the character of Williams is killed by Han. That's the one thing, like, I like that character. I wish that he would have lasted throughout the entire movie. But Bruce Lee, you know, he really injects, raw, visceral emotion into every punch and kick in this movie. And you know, everybody, everybody is a memorable character. Bruce Lee, again, he has an undeniable presence. You have a great supporting cast of characters that are charming and charismatic, and a villain that, is a classic villain, intimidating, menacing. And again, you just don't really get that anymore in movies in general. The score, it's that moment when Bruce Lee, does the stomp on O'Hara. I really enjoyed that piece of music. And then you get to the final act of the movie, the third act, where, when Bruce Lee is fighting Han in the Hall of Mirrors, and a lot of great stuff there. And I know I'm probably not really talking too much about the movie or, really going in depth here, because who hasn't seen Enter the Dragon? It is, to me, the gold standard of martial arts movies. And it definitely, when you look at other movies out there, like whether it be, Mortal Kombat, or even before Mortal Kombat, Bloodsport, was, I'm sure, inspired by this movie. And then later on, Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I could sit here for an hour and, talk about the movie. But again, who hasn't seen the film? But it is a classic. And with all that being said, let me get to my final thoughts on Enter the Dragon. But overall, Enter the Dragon packs a punch with Bruce Lee's electric performance, great fight sequences, and so much more that, to me, makes this film the gold standard of martial arts films. And yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, go check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But again, thank you to Kevin for the request, and stay tuned for more.